welcome to the channel. What's going on YouTube? It's Eli with Common Sense, and I hope you are having a fantastic day. I know I am. I gotta say, the Middle East has been killing it with fragrances lately, as you are well aware. Frankly, where else can you get eau de parfum or extrait de parfums for $30, $40 that sometimes last upwards of 12 hours? I know, it's ridiculous. Don't even think about entering a department store and getting anywhere near that kind of performance, at least at that price point. But there's a 90% chance that you already know that. But today we're checking out a fragrance house that I really never heard anything of before. So let's check it out. Today, we're going to be unboxing and checking out Euphoric Oud by Essencia De Flores. As you can see, this box is really interesting. It has sort of like this embossed sort of look. It looks really glossy and really high quality. On the back, you have the typical holographic sticker that a lot of the Middle Eastern fragrances have, and on the back, it has a little bit of the info as well. I do gotta say, I love how this sort of tribal design wraps around the front and to the side. I think that's really creative and I like how that looks. Essencia De Flores is actually a sub-company of Fragrance World. So it has the Fragrance World website at the bottom, and I just thought that was kind of unique because a lot of the Middle Eastern fragrance houses do that where they have a sister lower company and they just operate under a different name for different releases. Gotta get that Middle Eastern monopoly going. Different brands. I know what you're up to. Oh, I thought I could do that. Ooh, look at that. If it's not obvious, this is a clone of Initio Oud For Happiness, and that one is around $300, and it's a really high quality niche fragrance, and it smells absolutely fantastic, and there really isn't anything that smells quite like it. We're not talking clones here. But the original DNA is very unique, and I really, really enjoy how it smells. It's a little bit of a fresher take on the Oud for Greatness that Initio released, and I feel like it's a really nice spring and summer alternative to the little bit more heavy Oud for Greatness. The bottle is definitely close to the original Initio Oud For Happiness. It has that sort of green, gold, and black color scheme going on, and as you can see here, this is an eau de parfum, so it's not an extrait de parfum like Fragrance World's, I think it's Happy Oud. One of those. It's really hard to keep track of these corny names that are just like this close away from the original. The cap is definitely a different approach than some of the Oud For Greatness and other Initio clones that I've seen. It's kind of interesting that they decided to go with this sort of gold cylindrical cap as opposed to the rubberized kind of rectangular cap that you'd find with a lot of the other clones like Latafa and just like the original Initio bottles. Oh man. That smells good. That smells very, very, very close to the original Oud For Happiness. Because your boy doesn't have the kind of budget to buy every single niche fragrance out there that I like, I bought this little decant. I have been wearing the original Oud For Happiness on my skin, and I do have to say, it is very similar. Yeah, that stuff is magical. Like Oud For Happiness, this one has top notes of bergamot and ginger with middle notes of licorice, oud, and cedar. And it also has a base of vanilla, musk, and various herbal notes. So immediately off the top, I'm getting very strong vanilla and licorice. I feel like it's very dominant with those two because you have a really unique sweetness, and it has that kind of nice depth and body from the oud and the vanilla as well. But there's also a really interesting freshness here, especially from the bergamot and the ginger. That combination, it's really unique, and it just brings a nice freshness that you don't find in the original Oud For Greatness. Definitely oriental and creamy up top, and on skin, I feel like it does get a little bit warmer, but you still have that really nice bergamot and that ginger up top. It's just really nice, uplifting, and fizzy. Ginger can have that kind of warm, little bit spiciness with a little bit of that fizz. I feel like it does take a lot of that facet, but combined with the bergamot, I think this is very unique, and I think it smells very green and bright. And it's not listed, but I feel like you also get a little bit of like a lime or like a lemon. And I feel like that bergamot may be accompanied by some other citrus because it just smells really nice, really bright up top. I do have to say, it's not very common that you find a summer oud fragrance that you can pull off, and a little heads up, I'm actually doing a video on that. Ouds that you can pull off in the summer, so stay tuned for that one. But I really love how this one smells, especially on the skin. I feel like after you have the initial kind of blast of that licorice, the oud, and the bergamot up top, I feel like it kind of settles down and it has a little bit more of a spice, but it still definitely remains spring and summer appropriate for some of those warmer weather situations. But overall, this is very nice. Not all, but with some of the Middle Eastern fragrances, you can get a little bit of a synthetic, kind of screechy vibe from the opening. And I really don't get that here. I think it's blended very well. You can pick up some of the individual notes, but I feel like the quality of the oils and the synthetics that they use here, I think the accords are very accurately portrayed, and I think it smells absolutely fantastic. It's also worth noting that the cedar and the licorice here do give quite a bit of a smoky vibe, a little bit more of a black and just kind of slightly smoked vibe. And because Oud For Happiness is a flanker of the original Oud For Greatness, you are going to be carrying some of that depth, some of that spice, but again, this one is a little bit more fresh and a little bit more citrusy. I read online somewhere earlier that the original Oud For Happiness reminds them of a Jamaican grandma. It smells like weed and jerk chicken spice rub. I'm like, I mean, I guess it's kind of spiced. It's got that green vibe. I can kind of see what they're saying, but I wouldn't take it that far. But I do have to say those kind of spices and that green kind of facet to it, it does make it smell very mysterious, but at the same time, it's very inviting, especially because you have that bright and happy bergamot, and especially that licorice, because there's really not a whole lot out there that makes use of that licorice accord, but I really enjoy how it's done in this fragrance especially. I gotta say, I've actually been wearing this one all week, and I've given it a full wearing, and I feel like it's a great blind reach fragrance, and it just smells really nice and definitely attractive. You also have quite a bit of muskiness in the dry down that kind of balances out that kind of dirty and smoky vibe, and it makes it smell a little bit more clean. This one is definitely a 9-hour plus fragrance, and I have smelled this for a lot longer, especially when you spray it all over yourself and your clothes, because I've smelled it on my shirt, my collar the next day. I'd say about 4 to 5 hours, it goes really strong, and then it does sit a little bit closer to your skin, but you can still smell it about 2-3 feet away from yourself, so this stuff is not to be joked with. And what's really surprising to me is the price. I mean, this is $30, and I know Fragrance World's other Oud For Happiness clone is like $45, and that one is an extrait de parfum, but I don't find that there's an issue with this performance being an eau de parfum. I think the concentration is perfect for what it is. I have to say this is an excellent buy for the price. Again, $30, you can pick it up at Triple Traders. And again, if you want to use my code, you can save 10%. But I gotta say, this is a spot-on clone of Initio's Oud For Happiness. It's basically 95% the same fragrance, and that's really scary, especially because this is considerably less. It's 10% of the price of the original. But with a house like Initio, you are getting a much higher quality juice, you are getting higher quality ingredients, and I feel like, but all the history and the master perfumer behind it, you know, that all comes with the brand. And so there is something to be said about paying a little bit more for something that you can be proud of, you know, to put on your skin and to wear and pull out for special occasions. But if you want basically the exact same stuff, you know, for everyday use, and you're not gonna feel pressured to only put 1 or 2 sprays to conserve, you know, go crazy with this one. But if you walk by somebody with this on you, you know, they're not going to be able to tell the difference at all. I guarantee it. But really unique stuff here. And that is Essencia De Flores Euphoric Oud. That does it for today's video. Let me know if there are any other fragrance clones that are this spot on. If this is your first time checking out the channel, I'd love to welcome you. Hello and welcome to the channel. And it's great to have you, and I'd love to have you stick around for more fragrance videos and content like this. So consider giving a like and maybe subscribing if you want to stick around for more. And for those of you who have been subscribed for a long time, my heart goes out to you. Thank you so much for joining me. I've been Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye. As well as something like you'd find in the original Initios. As well as like you'd find in the original, God, why can't I say that? Original? And I have used this and gave it a full wearing.
Don't let the flames die out!